Birthright citizenship case comes out of the Supreme Court. President Trump's executive order gets stricken down. In this video, I want to break down the real backstory behind this case and how it affects any of you U.S. citizens out there. And so, there was an executive order from last year when he came into office, and he revoked all of the it's called basically the anchor babies. They would say when you fly over here and you have a baby on the U.S. and you're not a U.S. citizen, you automatically get citizenship. Well, he stopped that with the executive order, and he was sued over it. It went to the Supreme Court. And now Justice Roberts, in a completely bizarre ruling, he doesn't read the 14th Amendment properly, can't read the commas and the punctuation. He says that all these anchor babies, they do get birthright citizenship, even though their parents were not born here, they aren't here, they have no allegiance to the United States of America, they still get citizenship. That changes absolutely nothing. And that's what we have right now. So, and here's the more fun that I want to have with this. For one, I'm going to make a quick prediction. What's going to happen is we're going to see a super majority in Congress in the second part of the term. So like the second half of the term, we're going to see a super majority in Congress by the Republicans, and they're going to make a constitutional amendment. My hope and dream is that we can completely destroy and remove the 14th Amendment overall. So this is just gone. We never have to deal with this crap again. So overturn the 14th Amendment. That'd be the ultimate goal, the dream, because that's the biggest problem that we have. And here's why. The 14th Amendment, it says persons who are subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Basically, it's I should know it offhand, but it's I should be able to memorize. Anyways, it created this an allegiance for protection and protection for allegiance status, just like we had under the Old English common law. And it didn't do it itself. It wasn't until the case Wong Kim Ark happened in 1890 or so. And that case is the one that I was hoping would be overturned today. Because that's the case that basically turned every single U.S. citizen in the United States into serfs. Nothing more than just a slave, a voluntary slave on a manor, picking daisies with no rights other than the right to sue for constitutional protections that are Title 42, 1983. That's the only right U.S. citizens have. They got no rights. So that's the system that we're under right now because of Wong Kim Ark, and then we're going to remain under because of this new case that just came out by the Supreme Court. At least until we have a constitutional amendment at the supermajority. I've gone really deep into this case, Wong Kim Ark, before and done a lot of talks on it. I was just going through some of my old videos. I have never put these out, but I've done like deep dives on it. And what are the remedies? I mean, there are remedies to it. One, there is something in it called a state citizen. The state citizen is not a federal citizen. It can be a federal citizen, but it doesn't have to be. But it is implied to be a federal citizen by consent. Plessy versus Ferguson, slaughterhouse cases, and then Wong Kim Ark, brought it under what's called the feudal system. The feudal system is just the Old English common law where you volunteer into the law system and you give your allegiance for protection. But did you get any protection? I mean, I'm not saying that we don't get protection in our states, because I'm definitely a state citizen. And they call it national now. State citizen is true, but it's actually called national or 8 USC 1101A21. National lower with a lowercase state. And so that's one of the remedies, but it doesn't do anything. I've done it. It doesn't give you any benefits or privileges. And then you still have to out of the necessity, the law of necessity, you still have to use your office of the U.S. citizen. So you have to I had to separate the two, where I've got the national, which is the state citizen, the man, and then I still have the office of the U.S. citizen, which is just an estate, just a dead fiction, a legal entity. That's the all capital letter name. So, I mean, I just had to kind of separate those two. and then the legal entities doing business as Gavin Mehl. But the national, the man in the state, he's just a living man. But, it doesn't really change anything too much. I mean, that's a technicality in the law. It's the way it works, and I wish I saw massive amount of benefit from it. I might be able to get out of it. I mean, maybe I can do my verification of election and not, on taxes. That could be a benefit, but ultimately, what's the really thing what people can get excited about is the supermajority that's about to happen in Congress, because people are pissed about this. I think people are just. I don't see how any other country in the world could have random people coming in and dropping babies off and having them, and then expecting citizenship, and then our Supreme Court saying that's correct, that's the law, that's what the Supreme Court, that's what the 14th Amendment was for. That's not at all what it says. I mean, it specifically says that you have to have allegiance, you have to have parents. It's actually the civil rights case laws in 1866, right after the 14th Amendment, it was right before, that talked about how you still have to have parents, from the U.S. 29 miles till Austin right now. I'm at a red light. I don't know why it's taking me through the middle of this town, but here I am in the middle of a town in Austin. Or not, I'm on my way to Austin, and it's driving me on this back roads. I'm on Google Maps. It's just like, yeah, this is the best way. Take this road with stoplights. I don't know why. Not familiar with state Texas, it says. It's all good. I'm a little vacation road trip right now, and it's a vacation at the same time. I'm going to get some major stuff done. But yeah, this is majorly trending right now. This case is big. It's important. I'm not in any way. I don't think all it's going to do is change nothing in the law at this point. Justice Clarence Thomas, he did an amazing dissenting opinion and absolutely destroyed the other judges. I mean, he shaked his finger at him like this in the dissent over and over again against Roberts and then Amy Coney Barrett. These people are traitors against our Constitution. And somebody like Clarence Thomas, see what the problem with the decision today with this birthright citizenship, the real problem is that it completely destroys our sacred history for blacks, and it undermines the value of the black American and what the black American did for, our country. It just undermines it, undercuts it, and destroys it. I mean, it's just it's wrong. It's unfair. See, black Americans are some of the most patriotic and most important, lifeblood of our country, and a lot of them are like they're like indigenous people of the nation of America. I believe that most of them were here. They were not brought here. That's what I believe. And I don't believe any of them were brought here, to be honest. The slave trade was completely abolished during the Articles of Association in 1774. So, according to our history, they were all brought here after that, maybe some before. No way in heck they were all brought here before 1774, and they weren't brought here after 1774. That means they were already here, okay? They were already here. And those people are Americans. They're our lifeblood of this country. Black Americans are what really built so much of this land and this nation. And it pisses me off a little bit, I guess, I'm not black, but I think black people are just some of the most important. They're just the lifeblood of the country, And what this Supreme Court case just did today just completely just made a fool. It made a mockery of black Americans, It's just sad. And see, that's just the mockery of this complete decision of these people in the Supreme Court right now that think that we're helping minorities. No, you're destroying. You are absolutely undermining the most important minority class in the nation, blacks. It's horrible. So, ultimately what they're saying is if you're from another nation like Guatemala, or for any of these other random places, and you have nothing to do with America, you could just come over here, bring a baby, and you get the same rights that the blacks got after the 14th Amendment. What? Dude, so unfair. It's so wrong. I mean, it's just wrong. So I think we're going to see a uprising from the people on this, and we will see what's called a red wave and a major supermajority to bring a constitutional amendment on the next term. And let's hope that amendment is get rid of the 14th Amendment entirely. Okay, we don't need no 14th Amendment making everybody subjects to the jurisdiction thereof and automatically becoming U.S. citizens by default. Let's get rid of that, man. I do like what Brandon Joe Williams says about that. I really kind of like. By the way, Brandon Joe Williams, he had no clue about what you're doing, bro, in the way of the courts. I'll tell you right now. I like, actually, I watched some of the Brandon Joe Williams video. I watched one of them recently, and people have sent them to me over the years, and I can't watch him because he's not proven. He hasn't won. And yet Brandon Joe Williams just doesn't understand the court system at all. He's trying though, dude, and I appreciate that. And I got friends that try too. And I'm always win, but I win motions, lose motions, I win motions, I win cases, I've won. And I know the courts work and the rules of court. He just doesn't understand. You cannot argue citizenship in a civil case. What are you doing, bro? It's not relevant. I mean, Rick Schramm showed us that back in '93. I mean, that's long gone. You know that. Here's Brandon Joe Williams. He's arguing citizenship in his amended complaint. Why? What's the point? If you want to argue citizenship, and that's your point, you want to become the national, you're a state citizen, you're a state now. Okay, I'm cool with that. I mean, I support you on that. But all you do is a simple 1060 action. That's it. You cannot go and sue for civil damages and bring up causes of action. Hello? Get it defined in a court of equity under 1060, one count, nothing else, and you get the court to determine your rights and the other party's duty under a contract. That's what 1060 is all about. A written contract, a written piece of paper, rights and duties under it. It's a simple action in equity. That's it. So, I believe Brandon Joe Williams will maybe learn that one day and follow that, but I could teach him. He could learn a lot from somebody who's actually been to court and done these sorts of things, because you cannot bring actions like that. It's humiliating. You're just going to get sanctioned and whatever. I love the courage. So back to the citizenship case. Yeah, if you want to do anything about it, I would say rise up, man. Because people could become a national, but again, it doesn't really change anything. I don't think. It doesn't give you any benefit. I've done all the research on it. I've done it. Went to the passport office. I asked them to put U.S. national on my passport card. Turned out that the Foreign Affairs Manual doesn't support the word national. It's not in the Foreign Affairs Manual, only U.S. national. So they've left out the state citizen in the Foreign Affairs Manual. Why? Because the state citizen has no allegiance for protection to the United States. It's a state citizen, and California is its own independent nation. That's how the Constitution works. That's why. And that took a big awakening. But I still have a right to travel internationally, right? And then they only recognize you as a U.S. citizen when you travel internationally. So it's like this law of necessity kicks in. Yeah. So, but the birthright citizenship case just went back, and there's a much bigger case that happened. I'll have to talk about in another video, that actually struck down all the administrative powers from these agencies under the FTC that came about in like 1910, 1912. They'd been becoming their own judicial body and a separate branch of government. That was stricken down. That's gone. That's like the biggest, probably one of the biggest, it may be the biggest decision of the year. And it's not getting a lot of talked about, but it's a big one. So that's it. It's birthright citizenship. The real thing is Wong Kim Ark. That's the most important case. It's not really about anchor babies. It's about enslaving you, the people. That's what it's about. You being a slave. Guess what? By a volunteer. You get to be a volunteer slave. Have a nice day. That's what it's about. Wong Kim Ark. Justice Harlan's dissenting opinion, Wong Kim Ark, breaks the whole thing down. See you at the top.